Well, the one thing in Rishi Sunak's favour, it seems to me at the moment, is Sir Keir Starmer, who seems to be stumbling and bumbling around without even being sort of challenged to do anything. He's managing to make himself less popular because he had this policy for a long time under Boris Johnson and Liz Truss, just keep your mouth shut, watch them screw everything up. Now he's faced with something a bit more serious, a bit more, I suppose, well-managed, if you like, as an economy. And he's got himself into more trouble. The Times this morning is saying that almost half of voters say he lacks vision. They're not happy with the way that his plodding has got them so far, but not very much further. And he's now run into trouble again because he's apparently claimed that there could be as many as sort of, 30-odd thousand women with a penis in Britain.
Look, I think that I'm really astonished, actually, that Keir Starmer, as the sort of lead that he commands in the polls against the Conservatives right now, because he has, I think, done a somersault in almost Neil Kinnock-like proportions on every single issue and policy that he embraced so warmly only 2 or 3 years ago. I cannot imagine that the public, the voting public, is so blind and ignorant that it is not clocking all of these things, and that will only take some sort of crisis and decision-making thing like an election to make them see sense.
Exactly right. And of course, he's already angered a good portion of the party by taking it more into the centre and becoming a bit more Blairite. I heard Lord Mandelson singing his praises the other day, which for an awful lot of people would be the kiss of death.
Absolutely. I think that the problem is that his own party is divided. He doesn't know which way to turn in order to get the MPs who sit behind him to get them from refraining to try and get him out, because it's not so long ago, Mike, and you'll remember this, it's only a couple of years ago that at party conferences, at Labour Party conferences, they were talking about ditching Keir Starmer. And I think the only thing that saved him is the turbulence and tribulations of the Tories in the meantime. If the Tories get this right, if Rishi Sunak begins to come across to the general public as a genuine and convinced and determined politician, I think that will erode the Labour lead rapidly to the point where it's not going to be a walkover for Labour. No.
And also, their other Achilles heel for me is the immigration question, because of all of the 5 missions that Sir Keir Starmer's laid out in front of us that he wants to fix about Britain, immigration isn't even one of them.
No. And I think that this is something that the Conservatives, Suella Braverman is promising that she's going to do something about it. Before the next election, and indeed before the end of this year, we do need to see evidence that people are not going to be allowed to simply cross the channel as they are without repercussions. There has to be the promised plane loads of illegal immigrants being flown off to Rwanda. We have to see it with our own eyes. Otherwise, I don't think that this is going to help the Tories. If they fail to deliver on this single issue, I think that Starmer will be able to waffle his way through.
Absolutely right. I've just got a breaking piece of polling news for you. The Sunak-Starmer gap has been narrowing slightly, but they're still 23 points behind, so still a long way to go. But, I mean, here's the other problem for Starmer. When you talk about immigration, it was kind of ironic, I thought, on the first weekend of the Easter holidays that there were massive queues at Dover for people trying to go legally to France on holiday, but coming the other way is not a problem,
No, you can get across with ease. But I think this is yet another example of the French and the unions in France being bolshy about everything, but in particular about Britain. I mean, we are an easy target, aren't we?
Yeah.
We are desperate to get across and get some sunshine in the school holidays particularly, and it's so easy for them to pull the plug and make it difficult.
Yes.
But by the way, I don't believe that poll. 23%, I just find that a total figment of someone's imagination.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've been wrong before. I suspect they'll be wrong again. Let's just finish up with a word on Evan Gershkovich, the Wall Street Journal reporter who's been arrested by the FSB, the security services in Russia. Number 10 yesterday vowed to do everything they can to defend press freedom and try and get him back here. I think the US are also going to get involved in that as well. It's a shocking situation, isn't it?
Yes, it's an act of outrageous spite by the Putin regime. And it is, I mean, this man is of unimpeachable integrity and of scrupulous journalism. He is not in any way a likely spy. And I think that that we need to apply enormous pressure on Russia to try and get him out of there. But, you know, frankly, I think he's being used as a puppet to make us suffer.
Absolutely right. Trevor, thanks very much indeed. Good to talk to you. Trevor Kavanagh, political columnist at The Sun, of course, and Evan and his family are very much in our thoughts. We will also, if you go to Twitter, you see the hashtag I stand with Evan. We will be doing everything, obviously, that we can here to try and get Evan out of the Russian control, because he's been arrested, supposedly, on charges of spying, faces 20 years behind bars if he's found guilty. But we all know that that is really not what the story is about.